For this tutorial, let's see if we can work with the navigation buttons. We will not be using any actual SQL commands to do this, but it does help us get everything kind of established on the form itself, and then when we start working with the add button or the lookup, we can use those SQL commands then. Let's get the first button coded right off the bat. So we'll just double click on first, and let's put in a remark statement. This says something basic like moves to the first record. Okay, and on this one we want to assign for that int row location that I created in the previous video right there where we are, and this is going to be the row location will be 0 because we're going to be on the first record, and remember the indexing of these starts at 0, so we will say here that int row location equals 0. Then again a little with me statement, and I like to use the with me statement so that we reference this particular form. Some people just like to avoid that, but I've always enjoyed using it. I think it kind of keeps me focused on a particular form. Then I will do a .txt cusno.text equals, it's going to equal dt.rows parentheses that row location, int row location close parentheses dot item parentheses 0. So that will take us to the first record for the customer number, and then we'll do the same thing for the first name. So .txt first name dot text equals dt.rows parentheses int row location close parentheses dot item sub 0. And I'm going to try to keep this video a little bit shorter than the previous one. I like to keep them around 5 to 10 minutes because, to be really honest, I think after that length of time I have trouble focusing. So I'm going to try to keep that in mind for each of you. So int row location close parentheses dot item sub 2, and that should have been sub 1 up there, shouldn't it? There we go. And it should be item and not items there. And you can see that my typing has not improved since the last video. Okay, so that will take care of the first button. Now let's go ahead and go back to our design here, and let's code the last button, because that's really easy. On this one we'll just go in here and we'll say that this moves to the last record, and put a blank line just for readability. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take all of this code right here from int row down through the end with, highlight that, Control C to copy, come down here, Control V to paste, and what I'm going to do is just change this right here from 0 to dt.rows, and because when this loaded it got the count or the number of records, so I can say .count, but it has to be minus 1 because the count starts at 1, the indexing starts at 0, so the count number is always 1 greater than the index number. Okay, now let's go in and code the next and the previous buttons also. And on this one for the previous, if it's on the first record, we could have a prompt come up that says, hey, you are on the first record, or we could disable that button. There are a number of things we can do, but what I'm going to do is just say, hey, if it's on the first record, we're going to wrap around to the last record. Okay, so we'll come in here and we'll say something like moves to the previous record. And I'll do another Control V. I'll put some more coding in here in just a moment. But what this is going to be is the int row location. Instead of equals 0, I'm going to say minus equals 1. So I move back 1. And then here I'll put in a little if statement that says, all right, if int row location is less than 0, then I will say that int row location equals dt.rows.count minus 1. In other words, I'm going to go to the last record, and then I just go to that record. Very, very good. Very, very easy. Okay, let's go back and code the next button. The next one we'll say here again with the remark statement, because I'm big into remark statements to be really honest, moves to the next record. Well, what if I'm already on the last record. In that case, I'm going to move to the first record. Okay, I could have prompts come up again, but I'm just not going to do that. So this one will be int row location plus equals 1. In other words, I'm going to increment it by 1. I'll come in here and I will say if int row location is greater than dt.rows.count minus 1, okay, then int row location equals 0. Very, very good. And we'll move to that particular location, just like that. All right, well, let's give that a test. Click on Start. And in a moment it compiles and it runs. Okay, so I'm on the first record. I click on Next, and it goes to the next record, and the next, and the next, and the next. In fact, let me go back. Okay, I thought I had that typed in wrong. I was just checking my own entries there. So I can go to the next record. I can go to the previous record. I can go to the last record, and if I'm on the last record and I click on Next, it goes to the first record. I can go to Previous, and it goes to the last record. If I'm on First and I click on Previous, boom, it goes to, wraps around to the last one. Okay, so that's how we can navigate from record to record to record. Very good. In the next tutorial, we'll start working on that Add button and taking some controls over our form. As always, though, thanks for watching.